Hello, Serie A fans, and welcome to another episode of the Total Football Analysis Serie A podcast. My name is Daniele Proc, and I'm joined by football analyst Steve Coleman. How are you, Steve?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
As well as EPL host Chris Mumford. How are you, Chris?
Favoloso. Thanks for asking. Glad to be here with the guys.
I appreciate that. Our Serie A squad is a little lighter today because we're suffering from the absence of Alex Comzia. Hopefully he's not injured. But we'll do our best to recap and analyze what happened over the last week when another 100 games in Serie A were played. The last match of round 34 just finished, and it might have put an end to the title race. We are talking about Juventus-Lazio. The match just finished 2-1 for the Bianconeri. 2 goals from Ronaldo, 1 goal from Immobile. Juventus lined up with a classic 4-3-3, Lazio with a 3-5-2. Higuain, curiously, had to sit out because he got injured in the warm-up, and Lazio could not count on their best assist man, Luis Alberto. Steve, do you have anything to say about this game? I know we're talking off the air that it wasn't the best game in terms of quality and action. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't a great game for the spectacle that we were hoping it was going to be, as we talked last week. But Lazio looked really tired. You know, there's a story before the game. They've been ravaged by injuries. They only had six subs on the bench, 3 of which didn't have any Serie A experience. So he's obviously delving deep into his squad, or what's left of his squad. But interestingly, Parolo, Lazzari, and Acerbi have all played 640 minutes or more so far in the league, which, in the 7-game swing that they've had since they've come back is a massive amount of numbers compared to the other teams that have been able to rest and rotate people. So that's beginning to take its toll now. It was the last couple of games as well, but this one especially, it took its toll towards the middle of the second half. But somehow they found a little bit of a second wind and nicked a penalty towards the end to make it a little bit closer. But yeah, I thought it was a poor game. Juve lacking punch in the final third like they have been. Once again, it's all very much in front of the opposition, and Lazio's deeper block. They were able to absorb a lot of the good stuff that Juventus tried. Juventus occupied a lot of space as opposed to pressing high at the pitch, but they did make life difficult for Lazio to build because they get their win backs higher, so they found it difficult to connect with those guys, and that created a bit of a stagnated and slow game, which probably played into Lazio's hands more than Juventus's. So it wasn't a game that I was glued to the screen to watch, to be honest. Chris, how about you?
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the games that are decided or that have more than two penalty kicks in it, that's not fun to me. And quite candidly, once that first PK happened, which again, I think the handball rule needs to be changed to save the game, right? And that second goal, you could tell Lazio was just reeling and they lapsed. And, of course, you don't lose the ball in your own midfielder and hand it off to Ronaldo and Dybala, right? And they dribble it in like a training drill. I mean, that is the extent. There were some opportunities. There were some shots off some posts and some really big what if situations. I will say that that the save on that set piece by the keeper, who anticipated it well, really made a huge difference. And I wanted to believe that this game was going to have so many fireworks. And like a lot of when top teams play against each other, it ended up being really anticlimactic. I will say that the fact that Juventus has got a payroll that it does, roughly about 300 million euros, and Lazio has about 72 million euros, I think you kind of start seeing what a deep bench can really do for you, amongst other things. Daniele, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, as it has happened for the last 8 years, Juventus got the job done, and they're very close to securing their 9th Scudetto in a row. They're only 4 points away with 4 games remaining. I wanted to bring up the 2 goal scorers today, Ronaldo, who scored a brace, and Immobile, who scored Lazio's long goal. So Ronaldo and Immobile have become the third and fourth players since 1959 to reach 30 goals in Serie A. So they have joined the short list of, and here I'm asking you guys, who are the other two players that have reached 30 goals in Serie A since 1959?
Great question. Well, one's Higuain.
Correct.
2016, I think that was. And then the other one must be Luca Toni.
You are correct, my friend. The first one, yes, it's Higuain, season 2015-2016.
Yeah.
Higuain, he is now a Juventus player, but he achieved that record under Maurizio Sarri, who is also his current manager. So there may be something to be said about Sarri really taking the best out of his goal scorers. And yes, the other one is Luca Toni, 2005-2006 season with Fiorentina.
Fiorentina, yeah.
As Ronaldo is also the only player to have scored 30 goals in Serie A, La Liga, and EPL.
Wow.
Ronaldo and Immobile, they're also kind of tied together by this incredible stats about the PKs. Steve, you were mentioning how combined they have something like 23 goals on PK.
Yeah, it's 23 or 24 penalties between them. Yeah, I think they've missed one between them, haven't they, so far?
Yeah, and they're also the two forwards who take the most shots in the league. Ronaldo fires 5.45 times per game, and Immobile 3.73. Chris, would you rather take a shot from Cristiano or from Ciro Immobile? We were talking about how Immobile had a great shot in the first half from about 25 meter out, and he hit the woodwork.
Honestly, I think on that, Matt, if I were stuck with that, I'd rather just go get a glass of Gatorade and have the second string keeper come in, because I think my confidence would be shot. They're both outstanding at what they do. I hope we keep both of them in the league longer. And Ronaldo, Immobile, you kind of hope that he would last longer than Ronaldo, you would think, but with the way Ronaldo is and the way he takes care of himself, you just don't know who's going to be in the league longer, right?
Yeah, he has completely changed the rules about how long can a footballer's body play top-tier football. Lazio, we were talking about Felipe Caicedo and Ciro Immobile, two Lazio striker. They really try to create chances for their side. Steve, how much was Lazio missing Luis Alberto today when it came to being sharp in the final third?
Yeah, I think he's obviously the heartbeat of the team, as we've spoken about before. And if you are going to play the way Lazio try and play with their wing backs joining into the top line and allowing Immobile or Caicedo off the line to link the game together, then you need somebody to get on the ball and find those passes centrally. And today they didn't have that person. Milinkovic-Savic tried his best to dictate the game, but yeah, it's difficult when you don't have the man that the game's built around in your system, in your side. So yeah, I think the only way that they got around that is they were able to play a little bit wider from a more progressed position, middle of the pitch, and then they're able to switch to the opposite side and cause a few problems for the Juventus fullbacks, especially as always down Ronaldo's side where he does his own little part of defending, but it's not the most defending. So I think they were able to get opportunities where they got Douglas Costa, for example, defending. He needed to help Cuadrado against Anderson. I thought had a good game in his first Serie A start, certainly up until half time, and then they were able to get the ball from there to the opposite side through Savic or Parolo, and then hurt them potentially on the opposite side. But I think for Juventus, it causes them a problem where they almost concede Douglas Costa's attacking ability sometimes because he has to do more defensively than Dybala and Ronaldo, and I think it gives them a lack of pace at the top sometimes when Costa's attacking from a more deep position, having been in the defensive line to help. So that's an issue for Juventus that they're going to have to fix long term, I think.
Yeah, Sarri toward the beginning of the season said that we had only seen 50% of what Douglas Costa can provide to the team. But as you're saying, it really looks like his attacking duties are limited to the fact that Dybala and Ronaldo, they like to stay central, they like to combine together. Douglas Costa has to pick up defensive duties, like you were saying. He has to help out Cuadrado. But to Dybala and Ronaldo's credit, today they seem to work pretty well. Dybala assisted Ronaldo on the second goal. Obviously, also thanks to Luis Felipe's mistake. But we also saw Dybala putting some quality crosses on Ronaldo's head. For next game, how do you see things developing? Do you see Higuain stepping back in? Do you see Sarri again employing Douglas Costa? Do you think that his performance was good enough for him to start again?
They play Udinese on Friday, don't they, in the next game? So it's a pretty short turnaround for them. That's Friday my time. Just looking at the schedule now, but yeah, it's a short turnaround. Higuain obviously limping out in the warm-ups, not great for them, but you're not going to change, I don't think. I think they only need, how many points do they need now? 1, maybe 2, I think, isn't it, to get over the line? So it's pretty much done and dusted. But Higuain's a real help for them in terms of being a focal point, but they do lose the connectivity in that 3. I think they probably have to go to a front 2 with him and Ronaldo and Dybala in behind, which Sarri doesn't want to do a hell of a lot at the moment. So he has to change things a little bit system-wise to accommodate Higuain, which is why I think he's favoured Costa a little bit more to give him that support down the right-hand side. So, yeah, he could come back in, but I don't think you can change those two. I think it'll have to be Costa that gives way.
Yeah, and we'll see what Sarri decides, given that also Federico Bernardeschi will be back from his suspension for next game. Let's move on to another game from this past weekend. Roma and Inter tied 2-2. The goal scorers were De Vrij. He opened up the score line with a header. He also equalized the the score for Roma on Leonardo Spinazzola's shot. Henrik Mkhitaryan put Roma ahead 2-1, and then Romelu Lukaku was able to equalize in the 88th minute with a PK. It was really a draw that didn't help either team because Roma now have Napoli and Milan closer, and Inter are further away from Juventus. Is there anything else that we are taking away from this game, Steve?
No, not really. I think it is a game where two teams are fairly comfortable in where they are. Inter are pretty set for Champions League spot, and Roma, as we've spoken about before, are pretty set for Europa League, depending on obviously where they finish is the only thing. So, 2-2, but the XG is fairly even. 127 for Roma, 141 for Inter. It's a dumb penalty to give away in the final couple of minutes of the game. Oh. The ball's just got to disappear somewhere further away from the penalty area. Falls over the ball and then fouls Moses trying to recover, which is not great. And Lukaku will always score from those situations. So yeah, not a lot to take away from this one. Winding down towards the end of the season with two teams who are quite comfy without the ability to push further on.
We're talking off the air how they attributed the Roma's first goal to an own goal by De Vrij. As a striker myself, I hate seeing that because I want the credit for the shot. I would argue that De Vrij committed the own goal because he was trying to save Spinazzola's shot. I know, Chris, you don't agree with me because I know that.
No, I think it's a classic. Sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. He clearly was giving all of his heart and soul to prevent that. And sometimes karma has a way of playing funny tricks on you, and that's one of those instances. And I imagine his teammates are giving him a joke about how he scored a brace that game. So probably the only brace he may ever score. Hopefully that's the only style of brace he ever scores that again.
Let's see if he's gonna have to bring donuts to the locker room since it's probably his first brace in the league. Another very important game this past weekend was Genoa against Lecce. Genoa won the game 2-1. They're currently just above relegation, 4 points ahead of Lecce. Well, everything happened in this game. We have Marco Mancosu missing a PK, then scoring on a goal that we're gonna analyze more closely. We have Antonio Sanabria opening up the score sheet with for Genoa with a 1-0 goal. And then Steve, let's talk about Marco Mancosu scoring that goal on something that was meant to be a cross. We have Cristian Romero ducking. How did that play out?
This game had absolutely everything that you'd want from a relegation battle. The proper nail biter. Two teams lost touch with the teams above them. Someone's got to take it. Someone's got to take the initiative. No one wants to. Full of mistakes, full of missed opportunities. The second goal, the second goal of the game, but Lecce's equaliser is a cross from the left hand side of the pitch, and the Romero, the centre half, ducks under the ball, should head it clear. It's almost like a dummy header, which fools his own goalkeeper into believing he's going to clear it, and it drops into the far post and in off the post, and the goalkeeper, as you can imagine, is less than impressed by his big centre back not heading the ball clear. It's a shame Alex is not here this week. I was hoping to talk to him about defensive dummy headers, which I've never seen before.
Steve, that's something that, a defender ducking like that, it's something that you see when the keeper is about to come out for the ball, calling out keeper. And so the defender ducks to leave the ball to the keeper. But Chris, I would like to hear your thoughts about it. There's no way that Perin could have called that ball. He was just, almost on the goal line, waiting to see where the cross would go. So what do you think that Cristian Romero thought about on that occasion?
That was a head scratcher. I had to watch that several times because it was absolutely bewildering. I think the person that was surprised the most was the keeper, right? So, most keepers at that level get if you call for the ball, you want the fan one block away from the stadium to hear you calling for it. And there wasn't anything like that going on.
Especially without fans. Like, you could have probably, you can hear even better,
I don't
not have been any misunderstandings there.
Yeah. Well, I if it were back in my day, I would have gone up and I would have chewed him out and grabbed the ball and stuck it in his chest and made him carry it back to the midfield because that is unacceptable.
Yeah, we saw Perin raising his hand as if to say, "What the hell are you doing, my friend?"
Yeah.
It cost us a goal. Lucky for Genoa, they were able to score the 2-1 from a shot from 25 meter out. Kind of lucky goal. The strike hit the post and then hit Lecce's keeper Gabriel on his back and then went in. Is this a sign? Is this a sign from the sky that Lecce is destined to go down?
100%. I think these things only happen to the teams that are in trouble. It's nice play from Genoa. Good combination play down their left-hand side, cuts inside. So it's a good hit from distance going across the goal, off the post, and of any place it could go. It wasn't the back of the goalkeeper's head that was necessary for Lecce, but I think if you're in those positions down the bottom and things that you're not getting the rub of the green, like potentially teams around them, you miss a penalty. I think the ball's still coming down from the penalty. It's so far over the bar, and it was one of those games that they could have done without having the luck on the opposite side. But I actually thought they did a good job, Lecce, in terms of nullifying some threats that Genoa had. Obviously, Pandev is a big threat. Genoa have changed from a back three into more of a 4-3-3, but it's a little bit different, more of a kind of, as you said, Danny, like a Christmas tree with Pandev working inside and in little pockets of inside space. So their midfield diamond, Lecce, is able to nullify a lot of that stuff for long periods. And as you say, the goals that are conceded, one is a mistake which leads to a fast break counter that's a good finish from Sanabria, and then the goal at the end. But other than that, they didn't give up too many chances. They defend deep and they try their best. They do concede the most shots from the shortest distance, as we've spoken before. But my concern for them is they don't have a guy to put the ball in the back of the net like the other teams around them. And I think it's pretty much game over now. It's 4 games to go. 4 games or 3 games? Can't keep up. But 4 to go. 12 points available. They've got 7 points to overturn. if they want to catch Udinese, 4 if they want to catch Lecce, Genoa. But to do that, they've got to score goals. And at the moment, I think we spoke earlier, they conceded 76 goals now. Is that right?
They have the worst defense. Yeah, they have conceded 76 goals.
Yeah, minus 34. Ironically, they conceded the most goals, but their goal difference is better than the 2 teams below them. But miles away from the 2 teams above them. And at this stage, that goal difference is an extra point against them. And that's a real issue for them.
Yeah, and if there's a team that is not struggling with scoring, that is AC Milan. Lately, they've scored 8 goals in the past 2 matches, and 7 different players put their name on the score sheet. We have seen defenders, midfielders, wingers, and strikers score for AC Milan. They also, it's almost astonishing to see how easy AC Milan now get to the opponent's goal. They have registered 42 shots in the last 2 matches. They're very dynamic. There's a lot of energy on and off the ball. I've also heard and read how these late performances by AC Milan are the best in years from the Rossoneri. Steve, what are we seeing differently from AC Milan?
I think obviously we spoke last week about the Ibra effect. You made some comments around the points tally with him in the side as opposed to him not in the team. I think there's a lot to be said for that side of things. In the first instance, you know, his leadership in the top line, his ability to bring players into the game around him as a focal point is a big difference. But I think you're also beginning to see Pioli's kind of philosophy and the way he wants to play beginning to make itself more known now. You know, you've got their ability to attack in different ways now, with obviously Hernandez down the left. His partnership with Rebic has been a big factor in the way that they've created chances. Hernandez obviously, you know, very progressive left back, gets forward really well, creates good opportunities, so quick and dynamic down that left hand side. And that partnership with Rebic led to the first goal against Bologna at the weekend, for example, with the cutback. So you've got the width that they can create on that side. Obviously, on the other side with Conti and those guys, it gives them the ability to attack on both wings, which has been really important to them. And I think once you do that and you create width, you're able to stretch opposition across the pitch, and you're able to play through a lot easier into spaces, into gaps. And at the moment, Kessie at the base of their midfield has the most passes in the league since the restart and the most progressive passes, which has been a big factor for them progressing the ball forward. And it's no coincidence that because of that, Ibra has received the most progressive passes so far, and he's also carried the most progressively in the Milan side so far. So his influence is obviously making a big difference. But you're right, they have a lot of energy, a lot of dynamic runners, and getting runners beyond the ball and pulling defenders in all directions has been a big key for them.
And all these runs, all these movements, all this, you know, being a very dynamic team is also due to the fact that Milan are one of the youngest side in the league. I know, Chris, you have pointed that out. So can you expand on that?
Well, I just think if you look at the ages of the back line and the midfielders in particular, I mean, I think it's, 25, 26, 25, the average age of the team is. And you take out that outlier, Ibra, at 38, which I still find impossible to believe. But that number goes down even farther. And so I guess I'm personally very excited about AC Milan's future, assuming that they stay locked in on one philosophy and maybe try not to rotate the coaches so much and stay with some consistency. You know, I will say that AC Milan, we all know about the financial challenges that they've had, but the truth is they've got 125 million euro payroll, which puts it 5th in the league, and they're at 7th. So, you know, and they're 2 points away from moving to 5th place, 1 win away. So I think there are a lot of pieces that are kind of in place there. You know, I think they're clearly 1 or 2, maybe 3 big pieces away from well, actually maybe 2 pieces away, and then just an aging of the squad to be competitive with Juventus, who's got a 300 million euro payroll, which is more than twice. So I like where they are now. I think that as you know personally, the expectations of AC Milan is winning the Champions League, and we all have to say we're in 2020. This is the Serie A that's different than your grandparents' Serie A, and we have to recognize reality for what it is and take a 2 or 3 year time frame, as opposed to we have to win next year, right?
Oh yeah, I would say my parents' Serie A was the best. When late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of champions. But since we talked about Milan, Milan are gonna play Sassuolo and Atalanta in the next two Serie A matches, and these three teams probably they are the best attacks now in Serie A. Milan have scored 17 goals in the last five. Sassuolo have scored 22 goals in 9 matches since restart. And we know Atalanta, they have scored 94 goals in this Serie A campaign, which has been topped in Europe in in Europeans major leagues only by Bayern Munich, who scored 100 goals in Bundesliga. Um, Anything else to point out to expect from this two matchups, Sassuolo Milan or Milan Atalanta?
I'll definitely be tuning into Atalanta Milan. There's no question of that. That's probably the game of the week now. Atalanta are just so exciting to watch. They got so many different ways they can break teams down. They can run in behind. They can create width and cross from deeper positions into Zapata. They're so flexible in what they do, and they're so exciting to watch. So yeah, they've been a real standout. It's just a shame they've had a bit of a slow start, and it's taken them a little while to kind of really hit their genuine straps, I guess. But they're sat, third in the league right now, and there's no reason why they won't finish second. And they're certainly not going to catch Juventus, but they're certainly going to finish strongly as they started since the restart.
Yeah, and they could have been second if they had been able to hold on to that 1-0 lead at Hellas Verona this past weekend. I mean, credit to Hellas Verona. They've been a strong side, tough to play against for the entire season. But I agree, Atalanta are very exciting to watch. They also have bigger things in mind, I would say. Now that they've secured the Champions League spot, they're preparing to play against PSG in the quarterfinals of Champions League, which will be playing the second week of August. Let's look at Juventus. So Juventus needs 4 points in the remaining 4 matches, proving that second place Inter win all their games. So they're going to play at Udinese, then they're going to host Sampdoria, then they're going to play at Cagliari, and then they're going to host Roma. Do you guys see Juventus dropping points anywhere in these games?
No, I think they'll have too much for Udinese on Friday. I think now that they're that much closer, they just need one win basically to get over the line. And you're relying, like you said, on Inter picking up maximum points over the last 4 games. So yeah, I think by Friday it could be all done. Inter Fiorentina's a tricky one for Inter. I think it could be done by the end of the weekend.
I have a different view. I think I'm going to come up with what's called the Coleman curse. If Steve says that a team's going to win 4 games in a row, it ain't going to happen. Just because that's what happens with color analysts, and is that's not going to be the case. I am going to be curious about. They should win. You would hope that Roma would give them a good fight, but I just wonder if just that champions let up, right? Some people say that Liverpool has had their champions let up. Can they stay focused for 4 games, realizing that they're jogging in the park, right? They're on the warm down lap at this point. So time will tell. Ronaldo is an absolute Ferrari or Lamborghini. I wonder if you want to just kind of get him done and dusted and make sure he's as happy and can be and focused for the Champions League.
Well, I'll tell you something. I see Juventus not collecting all 3 points this Thursday at Udinese, because Udinese right now they sit at 36 points. I feel like they need another 2-3 points to save themselves to secure a spot in Serie A football next year. So if that will be the match that I see Juventus dropping some points, and then they play against Sampdoria, who are safe. They actually just won this past weekend, and they are comfortably at 41 points now. Cagliari, same, and then Roma. But by when that game comes around, probably the title race will be over. But if there is a battle that is probably gonna go until the last 2 match days, will be Genoa and Lecce to not relegate. And Genoa have a tough game coming up against Sampdoria, the Derby della Lanterna, as the Italian people call it. Sampdoria are the most in shape team, we can argue. They have 4 wins in the last 5 matches. Genoa, like you said, Steve, they seem to have found a balance with playing with 4 men in the back. Besides 4 red cards, what do you expect from this derby, Steve?
Well, I think Samp have had a good week, haven't they? They're 3 from 3 over the last week. 3 good wins that have taken them to be fair where they should be, as opposed to where they have been. I think we spoke a little while back about they were the most underachieving team in the league. I think we're beginning to see exactly what type of team they are now, and Ranieri's influence and what he's been able to achieve in the turnaround has been nothing short of fantastic, as you say, with the points they've picked up. So his flexibility and what he's able to achieve with his side has been great. I think they've got too much for Genoa here. Genoa are safe as far as I'm concerned right now, because I can't see Lecce picking up 4 points to go above, or they need 5 really with the goal difference.
Well, I'll tell you something. Lecce will pick up 3 points against Brescia this Wednesday.
You're assuming that. That's fair to assume, but they still need someone to score. So maybe it will change again, but I can't see Udinese being pulled into it. But I think Sampdoria on the counter here, Genoa needing to pick up points, coming higher up the pitch and trying to create chances. I think you'll find Samp sit deeper and hit them on the counter like they have done in the last couple of games. And with the aging goal machine at the top, still scoring and still creating opportunities, I think they'll have a little bit too much for Genoa.
Yeah, we have seen Quagliarella scoring again and providing an assist for Bonazzoli. Really, the work of Ranieri has shown. They're gonna confirm him very likely for next year. And he can really play a 4-4-2, can he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And among the upcoming matches, we also have Torino-Verona, which can be relevant because Torino, just to make sure that they stay in the league, they may need another 1 or 2 points. And besides that, the other matches are probably won't have too much to offer. Lazio, Cagliari. Lazio have secured a Champions League spot. Cagliari are safe. This midweek, we have Inter, Fiorentina. Steve, what are the motivations of Inter to because it's hard to trail when you are 8 points behind. You have secured a Champions League spot. Probably they're also preparing for Europa League that's coming up in August as well. What do you think are their motivations at the moment?
Well, one of the big motivations would be trying not to annoy my coach, I think, as one of their players. So of all the coaches to annoy in the league, I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of Conte, that's for sure. And because of that, I think a little bit like Gattuso at Napoli, his standards are so high and what he expects in terms of work rate and effort from his team. He's not going to let them drop off. Obviously, the difficult game against Roma this week, as we've spoken about, but he's not going to let them drop their standards. He's still going to try and play the same way. They're going to use Lukaku. Sanchez coming back in and doing pretty well has been a nice bonus for them. But yeah, their energy and their ability to change up their side to keep people fresh, especially in those wing back positions, is going to help them moving deeper into August with everything they've got coming up. So their motivation is to make sure they finish as high as they can. Second will be a positive season for Conte, and if they go deeper into Europe, then I think that's been a real success, considering early on, he's complaining about not being able to get players in and what he needs. I think he's done a good job with what he's been able to do for sure.
Yeah, playing for Conte definitely wears you out as a footballer. Yeah. Before we wrap up, I would like to go around and each of us picks the best goal of this past week. I'm gonna go ahead and start, so you guys have a couple seconds to think about it. To me, it's Alexis Saelemaeker's first goal in Milan win against Bologna 5-1, because that was really a team goal. The ball was served to Rebic on the left-hand side. He was able to shield it. He held on to it. He backheeled it for Theo Hernandez, who made one of the many progressive runs that he makes during the match. Cut back by Theo Hernandez for Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic's awareness was amazing of who is around him, what are the defenders. He dummied it, opened up his legs, let the ball run through, and Saelemaeker came full speed running, impacted the ball with his left foot and found the bottom corner. To me, this just shows how Milan have started to connect, to combine. They're all on the same page. They're excited to go forward. So I'm picking that, and no bias included in this selection.
Okay. Well, to be honest, there was 3 in the Genoa-Torino game that I liked. I thought Torino's 3-0 win was a extraordinary 3 goals. But I'll go Belotti with his finish in that one. His left foot screamer from outside the box. I don't think it could have gone any more in the top corner. He's now scored in 7 straight games, which is a really good record and a reason why Torino have kind of bounced themselves up the table. So, yeah, definitely Belotti's.
I heard that they're fixing the net after the shot. Yeah. He ripped it off. Yeah. By the way, weak foot. And I looked at it multiple times. It's not like the ball was bouncing so that it added to the power. The ball was on the ground. He was able to put so much power behind it. That was impressive. Chris, what do you got for best goal of this past week?
So when I think best goal, my eyelid on my left side starts to flutter. It's a nervous habit I have because
best save.
I try to block out the best goals and I talk about best saves. The one that comes to mind, and I really wish young keepers would watch this, is that Szczesny save in that game. I mean, that basically put Juventus completely on the cool-off period for the rest of the league. And getting, as a keeper and as for anybody, any player, but keepers in particular, is to trust your instincts on where you're going to go. And not only did he trust his instincts, but physically, it's still very, very, very hard to get up into the upper 90 like he did. And I'm going to give the goal parentheses save of the week to Szczesny on that one.
Yeah, the free kick was really headed for top bin. There's another one I would like to put in the honorable mention is Matteo Politano's first goal for Napoli. And that came in a stoppage time, probably the last minute of stoppage time. He received the ball on the right flank, came in. I feel like everybody was expecting a curler on the far post, and instead he just fired on the near post. The ball actually hit the post, the internal side of the post, and then went past the goal line for Napoli's 2-1 win over Udinese. Well, that's it for today's Serie A show. Thank you, Steve and Chris. Appreciate your perspectives. We will be back next Tuesday with another episode of the Total Football Analysis Serie A podcast. And who knows, by then, we might have a Serie A winner as well as have a clearer picture on who will play Serie B football next season. Ciao.